a little bit of time. I'll drink my coffee now. Mm. We want to talk about Giants. We want to talk about everything else that's going on in this NFL world. We just want to talk about all this fun stuff because you know what? The season starts in how many days does the season start in, man? The season starts on Sunday against the vaunted Tennessee Titans. Leonard Williams, of course, has come out and he has restructured his contract. So now he has saved the team an exorbitant amount of money, but the only issue with saving the team any money is the fact that, well, we were $7 million over. So if you take a look at the Leonard Williams deal itself, and we're going to pull this up directly because all the terms are not really, they're not really giving how much money is pushed in the next year. They moved some non-guaranteed money. They converted $17.8 million of his salary in 2022 into a signing bonus, clearing up $11.92 million in salary cap. Well, that's great. We got some problems with that, considering the fact that we are $7 million over the cap. You're $7 million over the cap. You do 9 point whatever million. Me doing the math. If you're $7 million, save $12 million, blah, 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 carry the 7, and you're looking like you're still over the cap. We're not over the cap, but you're very close to being under the cap. And the Giants right now are one of the few teams outside of the Los Angeles Rams who are currently over the cap. Now, the cap deadline to be under the cap is tomorrow. Or actually, not tomorrow, it's today. I'm sorry, it's Tuesday because I forgot yesterday was a holiday. So currently, if you're under the cap today, you have to be. It's by league rules. And I think it's interesting that the Giants are taking a look at this situation and seeing exactly what they need to do. Is this a smart move by the Shane? Well, yeah, it depends on how much money that they push into next year. So it could technically be a smart move. But then you think about this and you kind of scratch your head because you actually lost money when you signed on to when you lost cash when you let go of our old buddy Blake Martinez. You lost salary cap money. So that should be an issue right there, that you lost that salary cap money. So you're telling me that you could restructure the deal of Leonard Williams, get under the cap, but you had to get rid of. I'm thinking about this now. Now you had to get rid of Blake Martinez, which actually added onto your cap space. Is anyone else seeing something that I'm seeing here? Is anyone else figuring this out right now? That you're doing this, but you're adding cap space by subtracting cap space. And you're devoiding your talent of your roster by moving probably your best. What's going on? We got a new member. We got Juan as a new member right now. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Tyrone. No, currently we are under the cap. But Juan, I hope you enjoy being a member of Online OG Big Blue. A lot of fun stuff going on. Are we over the cap? No, we are currently under the cap. We were $7 million at this point in time over the cap per or before the restructure. So the move created $11.92 million in cap. So technically we're about almost $4 million under the cap. So I think that's a good thing because you need to be by, I think it was like 4:00 today. All teams need to be under the salary cap because there is a penalty if you are not under the salary cap. There is a penalty for this. It's not, guess who's back? I saw you, Juan. Guess who's back? Back again. Juan is back. But it's one of those things that you create. Getting rid of James Bradbury, Logan Ryan, and Blake Martinez not only devoided your team of talent, but it also, out of the $42 million in dead cap space, Shane created $30 million all on his own with barely zero savings. Actually, he added on to the cap space. He added on to the cap space. He didn't devoid the cap. He didn't lower that number. He added on to the cap. You've taken 3 vital cogs out of your offense, your defense. You took out your starting corner. You took out your starting middle linebacker. And you took out what's up, Zach? I hope you're in class. You took out your starting safety, quasi linebacker, and you're going to move forward that way. Now, I'm not a smart man, Jenny, but I know what stupidity is. You have to, at the end of the day, you need to have talent on your roster. You need to. That's there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's nothing There's nothing about that. That's what you need to have. You have to have talent on your roster. Right or wrong, good or bad or indifferent. And I understand we're building to 2023. I understand we're looking at the quarterback situation. I understand all that. I get all that. I get all that probably more than anyone else does, because I preached ad nauseum before the 2021 season. I preached that this was going to be bad, that 2022 was going to be a horrendous cap year, that big decisions would need to be made in 2022 to get this team where it needs to be. Classes until 10 for Zach Attack. That's always good. No one got extended, Tom. Leonard Williams got restructured. So I preached for, I don't know how long I preached. I preached forever about this, and I was told, you're stupid, you don't know nothing. The cap is a living, breathing thing, a very, very feng shui cap. And I said, no, it's not a living, breathing thing. You're going to get in cap trouble. You get in cap trouble. That's just the way this game works. And now all these people are like, well, we don't know how we got into these cap problems. I'm going to tell you how you got into the cap issues. I'm going to tell you. I'm breaking it down for you real easy. You signed a bunch of overpriced veterans to come in and try to save this team for one season. And I said that. I said that ad nauseum. I hated the Kenny G sign. I hated Leonard Williams. I couldn't stand these players that were outside of Bradbury and Blake Martinez. Those are the only ones I liked, because you could see what was happening. You could see that you were moving forward and pushing forward and moving this money to 1 year, and it was going to be bad that 1 year. And then I love it because the Giants signed Marcus Johnson to the practice squad. Venerable wide receiver. Been in the league since 2016. Had a cup of coffee with the Eagles, the Titans, and the Colts. Started 41. I played in 40 games. Started 12. Has career totals of 51 receptions for 839 yards. He's a burner at 4.39. He's just been in the league since 16. And I love it because people are like, well, they signed him to the maximum veteran minimum for the salary cap and for the practice squad. That's not much money. That's like signing someone from 13,000 to 18,000. And now everyone's thinking that you're going to move on from our old buddy Darius Slayton. I keep telling people Darius Slayton's going to be on this roster. He's going to be on the roster, because you can't not have a starting wide receiver outside to go along with your buddy Kenny G. Why? Because it's called football. That's what I don't get with people. It's called football. You're not going to have a 5'8" guy starting on the outside, on the left-hand side. You're not. You need a guy with some. First of all, if you have a 5'8" starting wide receiver, and you have the mannequin Kenny G, who's going to block? You still need to have someone block downfield as a wide receiver, especially in the running game. Marcus is Coleman 2.0. He's Coleman 2.0. Hey-oh. Oh, my God. Good morning, Tyrone. No, we're not under the cap. Jose, guess who's back? No, we already got that one. Class is until 10. Tyrone says, from what I'm hearing, Blake wanted to see if he can play elsewhere for an extension. Weird, but somehow I believe Blake had something to do with his own leave. I don't think Blake did. I'm going to tell you why I don't think Blake had something to do with his own demise or his own moving. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've heard this line before. It's mutual. It's mutual. It's never mutual. That's like when you break up amicably. It's never that. It's always somebody's fault. You don't take out your starting middle linebacker a week and a half before your game against the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry because it's mutual. And you have an undersized Tay Crowder and an unproven McFadden in your second level because it's mutual. I think basically Blake saw the writing on the wall. He wasn't getting any playing time, really. I think he averaged maybe 18 snaps until that last preseason game. And this is a guy coming back from knee injury. And I'm going to tell you this, he looked fluid going sideline to sideline. He looked good. I watched the Jet game again. He didn't seem to hesitate. He had a nice flow. He had a nice fluidity when he was going sideline to sideline. He dropped back in coverage a couple times. You don't do that when you go up against Derrick Henry. You don't. Unless it's mutual. I think Blake just wanted out. When Blake wasn't made a captain, I don't remember who I was talking to. Blake wasn't made a captain, and I said, uh-oh, Blake's not a captain. What? Uh-oh. Something ain't right here, Shaggy. Because you had 10 captains. Everyone's captain. I've changed it, though. I don't want to be a captain. I'm an admiral. Just want everyone to know I'm the admiral. So how soon can we get rid of Leonard Williams and Kenny No-Hand? Well, the Leonard Williams move, you probably can start. You're still going to take a big cap hit next year, but you had a voidable year on his contract. So you can get out a year early. You probably only stuck with him next year. Kenny G, that's a horse of a different color. We have to wait. We have to wait and see. I'm not saying fire Joe Shane. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying this. I find it interesting. I find it peculiar. It's things that make you go, because of the fact that we are making these deals and we're putting ourselves. I've always thought this. I've said this 100 times before. I've always thought this, that we were moving towards cap purgatory. I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this now for how long now? I've been saying this for a while now, that we are moving towards cap purgatory, which is fine, which is great, which I have no problem with because I knew what was going to happen. But the problem is when you start ripping and devoiding your team of talent after you move out of training camp, that's where I get a little confused. And I said the last couple of weeks, if you normally on an NFL roster, if you're 50 anywhere between 50 to 53 man on the roster, you have to worry about your space. You got to worry about your spot. Don't get comfortable. I said on this team, if you are anywhere between 43 and 56, you need to be concerned because of the fact that they were going to try to find additional talent out in the NFL free agent sphere. And you know what? Sometimes you get a gem. Sometimes you get a guy that people cut by mistake or cut because they didn't want to. But sometimes another man's trash is just another man's trash. And that's what I think people need to look at in regards to this. We got Big Frank in the room. We got Zach Attack saying, I don't know. It's very large, but I wonder if Shane fooled. I'm not saying Shane. I am not saying Shane has fooled us. I'm not. Because I believe in Joe Shane still. People will be like, but Tim, you're so negative. No, I believe in Joe Shane still. I still believe in him. Do I think it's going to work out the right way? I don't know. But I always knew I gave this year a wash. When I went out and re-upped on my season tickets, I even said I'm giving this year a wash. My problem is this, and a subscriber said this before. I want a team that looks competent and not a team that just shows up. And right now, if you take a look at this talent on this roster, and if you're honest, this may be a team that just shows up. I've said this before. I'm interested in this Tennessee Titan game because I think this is one of the few good matchups for the Giants in regards to the way they can play on offense. Excuse me, the way they can play on defense outside of Derrick Henry. Because they have Robert Wood, a bunch of rookies, Austin Hooper as their tight end, and their line has been extremely suspect for the last 3 preseason games, which is one of the reasons why I don't think they put Tannehill in the game. So if they can, and I've said this in my video the other day, last year the Titans had the most amount of cap space designated towards the offensive line, but they still gave up 47 sacks for Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill kind of had a down year, even with AJ Brown and everything else going on. So he still had a down year, but it was Derrick Henry coming back and saving them that helped this. They treaded water and then Henry saves them. They pushed through. So my concern is this for the Giants outside. If they can contain Henry by the grace of God, keep it 7-8 in the box with this wide receiver core that the Titans have, I think the Giants defense has an opportunity. Now, the only problem is the rookie receiver that they have is a burner. And the biggest issue is if he goes up against Aaron Robinson, because you figure Dory is going to play on Robert Woods. You figured that. Robert Woods is not the guy he was 3 years ago in LA. He's not. Not the same talent. Injuries taking his toll. He's also, I think he's like in his 9th year. But if he turns into a burner, if you have Aaron Robinson against that burner and he's still playing a step behind and Tannehill can get him the ball, that's our biggest concern because I'm not sure Julian Love is going to be able to play enough center field at the strong safety position, because I don't think you're going to try to keep Love in the box. You're going to try, but he is not Logan Ryan. He's not Peppers. He does not have that same quasi safety linebacker feel that those guys have. So he's going to have to freelance a little bit more, but I get worried that when you do that, you're not only going to open up the holes for Henry, but you also can open up the holes in the passing game. But like I said, this is going to be one of the true first matchups. I think the Giants defense, secondary wise, can potentially, keyword is potentially, have a quality matchup. And so that's kind of what we got to look at. What does James say? James says Gettleman should be charged with a felony. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it. Kid don't play. You better hit bullseye because the kid don't play. Thoughts on signing Tony Jefferson over the hill. Been injured for 2 years. He is what he is. It's on the practice squad. So I mean, it's like Zach is Marcus Coma 2.0 early bird, and it's an early bird special, Manuel. How you doing, my friend? It's the early bird special. I like the early bird. It's funny. I'm not going to get into things, but I'm practicing. I'm practicing right now. I have to practice doing things daily. So I'm going to probably do this show every day for the next like 5-6 days. It's a long story. We'll get into it a lot later, but there's a long story involved in this. What's up, Guy? Guy says, I don't think he's got to rebuild the roster, which last GM didn't make easy. No, he didn't. But everyone was enamored with all the Gettleman signings. And don't lie and say you weren't. That just bugs the shit out of me with people. Don't lie and say you weren't enamored. The only person not enamored in the giant social media community was me. I saw Kenny G and I said, yikes, no. I told people when I talked to people in Detroit and they said, we don't care that baby Megatron is leaving and he probably could have played through the hip pointer, I got a little concerned. He never left the building and he got $30-something million more than Corey Davis. Oh, Dom. How was the baked dope? The baked oatmeal was great this morning. I got to drop the kids off buck ass early. And I got it. Like I said, I got practice. LeVar says, let's talk. We're going to talk a little bit, LeVar. We're just going to do it. We're not doing a long show today. We're doing a short show. I got a video coming out at 11:30 as well. Tyrone said, Shane did nothing like Gettleman. We don't really have the talent to move. I mean, we were bad without the players leaving. None of these pickups, that's the scare. But that's the problem. You devoided your roster of NFL talent, but you did not replace it with NFL talent. That tells me we've already thrown up the red flag. We've already thrown up the white flag. And the problem is I laugh because everything that everyone is saying currently about Shane, if you go back in time, is the same thing that everything said about Gettleman. That's a quandary wrapped in a riddle. What does Jay say? Jay said, someone called Howard Cross or Shockey to start attacking. Howard Cross is always in the stadium. And I talk to Howard Cross maybe once or twice, or if not, sometimes once or twice a game, because he goes back and forth on the sideline. So you kind of chat, and I yell at him. And I yelled at him a couple of years back. I started yelling at Howard Cross just to get his attention. Then he came over, and then we started, we don't have a friendship, but he knows who I am, which I find funny. What do we see here? What do we got? Man, it says we got that in salary cap space Sean wanted. It's one of those things with Shane. Sean. I'm gonna call him Sean now. LeVar said this is the initial rebuild was supposed to look like back in 2019. The problem is we gutted the roster of talent, of high-priced, overpriced talent in 19 as well. It doesn't always work. But like I said, you can't keep making these types of moves if you keep moving away from NFL talent. But like I said, if you think about this logically, I'm also on the Twitter chat sphere thing. So if those are joining on the Twitter thing, welcome on the Twitter thing, the Twitter space, whatever. I got to do this daily for like the next 5 days. There's a lot of other shit going on in my life that I can't talk about yet, but I got to do this for 5 days in a row. I got to be on daily. Freaking daily. Zach says, what do you see? Do you see Kafka as calling plays? Kafka, of course, came out. Dable came out and said he's going to have Kafka call the plays. Why not? You had the training wheels on during preseason. Now, people are going to point out that the Giants have the most prolific offense of all of preseason, which means nothing because we played mainly against the Home Depoters. Was his offense innovative? No, because it was straightforward vanilla, because you're not going to open up your playbook in preseason. So I'm curious to see what he comes up with. I'm curious to see what goes on. I'm curious to see what Daniel Jones does. I've said it before. People are like, you're changing your mind on Daniel Jones not being the quarterback of the future. No, I'm not. I feel bad for Daniel Jones. And I've said this before. I understand Shane and Dable's speech. Their speak. I always call it coach speak, GM speak. I understand it. I understand it clearly. Because you can't say what you mean. You mean Daniel Jones is going to be our starter. We have all the confidence and all the faith in Daniel Jones, AKA I am going to go scout Bryce Young. We are doing everything we can to put the best team around Daniel Jones to give him the best option to win, AKA I'm going to sign someone like Marcus Johnson and devoid some of our talent because of the fact that I don't fully need Daniel Jones to succeed as a quarterback because I'm going to draft the one next year. It's one of those weird things. I call it all the time coach speak, GM speak. Dominic Palmer from across the pond in the back. Look, Shane has a difficult position with the talent and cap, and I'm looking long-term rather than 2020 soon. But decisions the last week, I'm looking long-term as well. I'm also looking long-term, Dominic, and I've told this, I'm not changing my tune about anything. I knew 2021 was going to suck, but like I said, I want a competent team, not just a team that shows up. I don't want to play a Division 10 soccer team against League One soccer teams. I know a lot about soccer, you can tell. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see Ohio State playing Bowling Green. You don't have to win. Make sure you hit the like button. We'll help the channel out. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I don't have to have the Giants win. I still think I had projected them winning 5 games. I'm saying 3 now. And I have season tickets. And I'm saying I don't have to see them win. I just want to see them be competitive. I want to have a good time at the game besides drinking. I want to have fun. Hit that like button. Says Big Old Tyrone. Juan is back. I missed Juan. Tim, you've been talking about the Caps since the start of 2021. I remember the comments that you didn't know what you were talking about. I bet these same fans look, no, because these same fans, these same content creators, these same people all sit there and have revisionistic history. All of a sudden, they all hated the Kenny G move. We hated that move. No, you didn't. Creamed in your pants when they signed him because it was a big Plaxico Burress. When we were moving all that money to Leonard Williams, you loved it until he became king of the almost sack again.
King of the almost sack.
You loved it. Don't lie. But that's what gets me upset, Juan. I don't mind I don't get credit for anything. I don't mind I only have 11,000 people or 11,000 subscribers. That doesn't bug me. You know what bugs me? People who lie. People who have revisionistic history and don't admit to it. When I am wrong, I admit it. There's a certain offensive lineman who had a good year last year with the Chargers. Was I wrong? Maybe. I don't know yet. Because of the fact that if he was on the Giants, everyone kind of feels the same way. He probably wouldn't have had the same impact. But right now, he's looking really good. He's looking great. T. Brad says, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button. Jay says, put the needle on the record. Hit that like button. LeVar says, go crazy on that like button. Go smash it, crash it, hit it with a hammer and bash it. Tim, let me get Anthony Richardson in 2023. I liked Anthony Richardson. I think a lot of people think Bryce Young had a bad game against Notre Dame. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. The problem with people thinking that he did not have a bad game. He did what he needed to do to get the team to win. Notre Dame kept the safeties back. Their whole goal was not to have Bryce Young beat them, so they went with the run. When they snuck the safeties up, that's when Bryce struck. So you know what? I'm not a Bryce Young fan yet. But I'm actually a little bit more curious about him because he showed patience. He didn't take shots that weren't there. He didn't try to force it into those coverages when they were playing the safeties deep. He didn't try to force. So to me, that's a maturity. That's showing he's reading the defense. And the old line, he is taking what the defense gives him. Tyrone says, Tim, they will switch up the matchup. Winks D's shadows. He will also put a number 1-on-1. That's why he likes players that can move inside to outside, follow them. We don't have the talent for that. We don't have the talent to shadow. We don't have the talent to shadow the D-backs. If you go back to Winks defense from 2020, 2019 to 2018, you had 2 Pro Bowl starting corners and 1 Pro Bowl safety. So you were allowed to do these things. You have Aaron Robinson, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes in the slot, and then Al, which is all others. Emmanuel says he's good. He's at the gym, hanging a banging, dude. Get in. Get those sets in. Greg says 3 p.m. here in Sweden. It's always good to have it. Let's see. We got Frank says, I was listening to Monday's episode of Big Blue Kickoff, on the Giants app, and the first caller said the Giants will go 5-0 to start the season. I wish I had some of the weed he was smoking. Maybe it was Maui Wowie. Little Panama Red. Who knows? It's legal here in Jersey, and I'm not in Jersey. It's legal here in Pennsylvania and Jersey. So Tyrone, no, Tim. I had a major issue with Gettleman day one and all of his moves. Well, I'm not saying you, Tyrone. I'm saying not. I love how people think. I'm not talking just about you, Tyrone. I'm just because there were some of us. There were some intelligent people. The Black Rifle is flowing today. Black Rifle coffee. I'm starting the Anthony Richardson train now. The kid at Florida State looks pretty good too. I've been watching a lot of college football now, and that was pretty. He looked okay. Pimp name Slickback says the only thing I can say the difference between Shane is he's trying to lie to people about trying to compete while rebuilding like the last GM. That being said, I don't trust him yet. Trust takes time. Here's the thing about Shane. Shane and Dable in the beginning were the only ones that were saying this is a process. We need to learn to walk or crawl before we can walk. And I understand that. And like I said, repaid the PSL, bought season tickets, came back into the fold, knowing damn well that this was going to be a bad product. And I got mad, and I'm still getting mad. And this is what people don't understand. When you pay for something, you buy a car. You go out and buy your dream car, let's say. You go out and buy it. You see it on the lot. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's got every accoutrement. It's got the real Calentarian leather. It's got everything you ever wanted in a vehicle. You pay for it. You walk outside, it's missing all 4 tires. That's kind of what I felt what the Giants did. You had a product, you had a roster, you had NFL talent on your roster, and you devoided the team of talent and created $30 million in additional dead cap money while doing it and not saving any cap space. That's why I got upset. I think that's what people need to understand. Tim, I'm not going to lie to you. I was one of those fans, fully Woody in the pants with Kenny G was saying, boy, I was wrong about him. You could be wrong. I'm wrong about things. But like I said, if you're wrong, man up. Man up and admit it. That's what a person does when they're wrong. They say they're wrong. I always tell people. I used to tell people when I worked in corporate America. You know what the easiest way, when you do something wrong, do you know what the easiest way to get out of that situation is? Admit to it immediately. Because what happens, especially in corporate America, everyone looks to blame somebody. Everyone spends more time looking to blame someone than sometimes they do fixing the problem. So what I used to tell people is I used to just admit to stuff. Because you know what? Then the blame was placed, and then we could go on to solving the problem. And I forgot what happened. I admitted to something, and I left the meeting. I got back into my office, and then someone came in my office. They closed the door and go, "Why did you admit to that? You didn't even do it." I said, "You want to know why? Because everyone was more concerned about finding out who did it than fixing the problem. And what can they do to you if you sit there and say right away, yes, I did it. It was my mistake. I made an error. What can someone say then? Well, you don't do that again." And then you go on to fixing the problem. And that's kind of what I think Shane and Dable are doing. They're fixing the problem. But the only problem is they're creating their own problems as well. Guy says, you are so right that you're saying the same. You were so right. They're saying the same thing. I know they are. It's okay, Guy. Emmanuel says, I started to think about our defense is going to be as bad from worse than our offense. You know what? I thought the defense was going to be the stalwart. But if you look at the depth chart, you look at the linebackers, I am extremely concerned that the Tennessee Titans are going to run the ball 947 times because there is a hole in that middle. And I'm going to say it now, and I said it during preseason. I'm going to say it again. There is a hole in the gap. There is a hole between the nose tackle and the defensive end. And the defensive, well, if you want to call it the 4-3, there's a hole between the nose tackle and the defensive tackles. There's a hole. There is a gap. And you have someone like Derrick Henry who was smart enough to know how to exploit that gap. That needs to worry me because I don't think our second level linebackers are going to be, when you're relying on Carter Coughlin, McFadden, undersized Tate Crowder. I love Tate Crowder, but he's too undersized to be a starting linebacker in a 3-4. And then hopefully Azeez Ojulari or Kayvon Thibodeau, depending on injuries. I don't think either one of them are going to play. But then if you don't, you have O'Shane Ximines. O'Shane, can you see? I don't see it. I don't get the warm and fuzzy. If anything, I get concerned that they're going to get into the third level. Pimp says, what are you laughing? I'm laughing at Twitter. Daniel Jones defender celebrating Shane's moves, not realizing Shane is basically saying, yeah, I'm drafting a quarterback next year. I don't get that either. That's the thing. That's why I said I feel kind of bad for the kid. On the 18th, I am going to the preseason. I'm going to be at every home game. We are in the red lot right next to the Verizon Center. We're going to set up a tent. I'm going to live stream for the game. I got James Williams coming out with next week. Maybe I'll have another subscriber or two come out some of the other games with me. We're going to sit there and we're going to talk about this, but I feel bad because of the fact that, yes, I see that. But if you look at the moves he is making, he is not helping the kid. If you take away Darius Slayton and start someone like Marcus Johnson over Darius Slayton or David Sills, that's not helping the kid. You still have question marks at your left guard position. You still have a question mark at your center position. You got a starting right tackle who's a rookie. You got a left tackle who I love and Andrew Thomas coming off another ankle injury. You have Saquon Barkley. You have Daniel Bellinger, who's lucky he's not in concussion protocol. And then nothing else. So you've actually, and I said this before, when I saw the roster in training camp, I said, you know what, maybe Daniel Jones has got a chance. Maybe he's got an opportunity. But then as you slowly got out of training camp and slowly see the injuries and slowly move away from things, you think about this and you look at it and go, they're not building this team for Daniel Jones in 2022. They're not. They are building this team for a quarterback in 2023, and I have no problem with that. But I also need to watch 2022. That's kind of my catch-22. I need to watch 2022. I got to sit there. What do we got at Swing Culture TV? I feel bad for him, too. I think we are tanking the season. You never want to say the word tank. That's an ugly word. The tank word's an ugly word. It's just an ugly word. I don't like that word. I don't. Because you think as an NFL franchise or an NBA franchise, I lived through the tank. I said this before. I've sat courtside for 7 years at the Sixers games. When it was trust the process. I saw, Ben Simmons, Jameel Okafor, Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid. I saw them drafting these number one guys, and we're supposed to trust the process. And it took 7 years to trust the process. And I told the story. They started winning, and there was this older gentleman sitting next to me every game. Every time we'd go to the game, he would sit there. He was sitting right next to us, and I love it because we would sit there, and there'd be 15 to 16,000, I think it is in Wells Fargo. There'd be 6,000 people in the stands for like 7 years. And then all of a sudden they start winning, and then we turn around and there's like 17,000 or 16,000 people in the stands. And I looked at, and they're all yelling, trust the process, blah, blah, blah. And I love it because he turned around me one game and looked at me and said, if they trusted the process so much, where have they all been? And this is my thing. I am not a front runner. I am not a homer. I am a guy that I am always there, good or bad or indifferent. I am there, but just be honest with me. Just honestly tell me the truth. Yeah, we are tanking. Thank you very much. That's all you got to tell me. But I understand Shane and Dable can't come out and say we're tanking. We're tanking. No, you have to use coach speak. We're going to put all the pieces that we can around Daniel Jones to give him the best opportunity and efforts to win these games. That's crazy. Well, LeVar, I'm having right now these unproven guys playing. Joe, well, the unit's prizes. I hope the Giants fan. I hope you're having an epiphany. I hope they do, but I hope they do. What does Jonathan say? Jones needs 10 wins this year to get replaced. Jones can win 8 games. Jones can throw for 4,000 yards. Jones can throw for 30 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, whatever. Jones will not be back here next year. If you take a look at the current New York Giants salary cap situation, and you go in, not counting all the Leonard Williams moves and everything else, but if you take a look at this and you go into 2023, the Giants currently, if we are looking at this, the Giants currently have $55 million in cap space. That, of course, does not mean moving Leonard Williams, because Leonard Williams is an $8 million cap hit. Let's see here. Cap hit's 26 and 8. This dead cap number. Kenny's 14 dead, 21 cap. Dory Jackson's 10 and 19. Dexter Lawrence is 10 and 10. Andrew Thomas is 10 and 10. But if you look at that, we're only 55 million under the cap in 2023. You cannot turn around and take 20 something million of that and give it to Daniel Jones during a rebuild. The smartest, prudent thing to do is go out and draft yourself a quarterback and hopefully draft them with outside of the top 5. It's the whole Bo Callahan situation with Seattle a couple of years back when Sonny Weaver, fleeced the team. It's so awesome that I've never seen that movie. Swing Culture says 5 wins. Joey D's in his house. Seems like they're aiming for the worst record so they can get their future quarterback. They might be. I love it, though. You cannot sit there and go, I am all behind Daniel Jones. I am all behind him. I am going to I'm going to Ohio. Watch, and I'm going to go watch Bryce Young. It doesn't look good. You send the scouts. You send your scouts that first game. You don't, before the season starts, you don't go to Ohio to watch Ohio State Notre Dame. You send scouts. Zach Attack says, I feel like everyone lives in their own bubble, and society's been, everyone can be right and no one can be wrong. I just see the rookies need to improve. I think the rookies just need to improve. And the great song, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. I love the Giants either way. I love the team either way. Good, bad, or indifferent. But you know what? I am still going to call shit out. That's just what I do. I always love it because when people, it's funny because, when you get on YouTube and Twitter and all this stuff, you never think you're actually going to meet people. You're never going to hang out with people. And people that started following the channel, now are my friends, which is really interesting. Like, like James and Dom, and I consider Big L and LJ, and, we hang, you hang out and stuff and you do things, and, and it's funny though, because everyone always says, you're the same person, if not worse, in person. In reference to what you say and the things that you do. And I love it because Dom, when he came to the house, my wife, he was talking to my wife, and I laughed because my wife told him, he's on his best behavior right now. And Dom looked at her like, really? This is his best behavior? He threatened to throw my watch out the window 5 minutes with me getting into the car. I am what I am. CJ Stroud, not Bryce Young. I don't know yet, Immortal. I don't know yet. I don't know. Let's get a little bit deeper into the season in reference to college football. We had 1 game. Some teams have played 2. Florida State's played 2 games. Stroud, not Young, dude. I don't know yet. Let's see. Everyone said the same thing about Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler was the man. We got Anthony. I see Anthony, the weatherman, in the chat over at the other place. I see Joey. I see Mark. I see Matt. I see a bunch of other people in the Twitter sphere chat. I don't know how that thing works. I just turned it on. Try something different. Love God says, hey, Tim, how will our cap space look in the next few years? Here's the problem. If they are careful with the cap space, you're 55 right now in 2023. And that's depending what you do with Leonard, Williams, and Kenny. I love it because the year after that, this is the year we're all shooting for. This is the year. Because in 2024, Our estimated cap space is over 200 million. We'll have 75 million in contracts, but we're over. We're over. We're going to have $200 million in 2024. They may sign me. I might come out of retirement. I tried to run the other day. No, I'm not coming out of retirement. I have to use the Echelon bike. Oh, we got ourselves a super chat here. For all super chats, go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. It's from Big Mr. Roldy Lewis. What's going on, Mr. Lewis? All you people should know it is Coach Speak or GM Speak from Jump. Tim, it's surprising that the regime wants their own. I'm not, Roldy. I've been saying this for how long now? I know. Did you miss the last hour? Did you miss the last, 8 months of the show? I'm always saying it's Coach Speak. I just said a minute ago, you're not going to sit there and say, well, we're going to go replace him. You're going to sit there and say, we are put the best pieces around that we can to Daniel Jones to give him the opportunity to show what he can do as a starting quarterback. And then you turn around and you go out and you scout Bryce Young. Of course it's Coach Speak. It's GM Speak. I've been saying this for how long now? Don't piss down my leg, though, and tell me it's raining. I know we're tanking. But as a guy that spent a lot of money on season tickets, a lot of money on the PSLs, when this was an NFL roster, and you create $30 million of the $42 million in dead cap space you had and removed NFL talent for your roster for the likes of Marcus Johnson, you have a right to be upset. Coach Speak or not. I wish I knew what the subscriber was again. I want to see a competent team, not a team that just shows up. A competent team doesn't mean you're going to win more than 4 games. But a team that shows up on the field, it doesn't just show up on the field. Anyone that played this sport understands there's a difference between being competent and just showing up. I played on bad teams, but we didn't just show up. We were competent. We just were not good. Thank you for the super chat. All super chats go to Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Henry says 400 yards. What does Barry have to say? Barry, who's Barry? How did Bradbury add to the cap space? Very simple. It's a very simple logic. When we got rid of Bradbury, we did not use the post June 1st designation. Now, what happened was what most people don't know, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. The league actually allows you to use 2 post June 1st designations before the June 1st deadline. And doing that and moving that away, that allows you to use, to gain and save that salary cap immediately. It's just the way it works. So what happened is he did not want to use that designation because while it would have saved him $3+ million this year, it would push $1.5 million in dead cap money into 2023. Now, have you said this before? Joe is protecting his cap money, like it's his own child. He's protecting it. He's like, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna hold on this. We're gonna save this. That's what he's doing. But the only problem is you added onto your dead cap number exponentially between just getting rid of those 3 guys, including Logan Ryan and everyone else. And Blake Martinez, you added over $30 million in dead cap money to your $42 million in cap space while you did not bring in any NFL talent. So if he would have used the post June 1st designation, that would have allowed him to save money. But then again, like I said, it would have rolled over $1.5 million into 2023, which is not what he wanted to do. What do we got here? Frank says, if Crowder is expected to see regular season snaps, why not bulk up or have the staff give him Crowder a training program to bulk up? Does anyone see that he is undersized? Tay Crowder is undersized. But the problem is sometimes you have a body frame that cannot add mass. That's just the way some players are. Matt from Connecticut, for all the work that he did in the gym, for all the hanging and banging, for all the little Hulksters out there, he just couldn't really add them. He added leanness and he added definition, but he did not add mass because that's just the way some bodies are. I love Tay Crowder, but I do not love Tay Crowder as an inside starting linebacker at his height and his size. Now, people always say, you always talk about height. There are only a few Sam Mills in this league. There's only a couple of them That's what you have to remember. There's not all these short players. We did this before. I had people in the chat tell me the best 5'8" wide receivers that ever played in the league, because you have 2 5'8" guys on the team. And people came up with a couple names. But then I would tell people he's not 5'8", he's 5'10". He's not 5'8", he's 6 feet. But there are some 5'8" guys like Steve Smith Jr., a few other people who excelled in the league, but it's not the norm. There is a reason why NFL teams have certain NFL teams. I would say majority of NFL teams. I know Tampa did. I know Miami did. They had a scale almost that your player needs to be between X. Like, you'd want your middle linebacker to be between 6'1" and 6'3" or 6'4", 225 to 245, if not, but more like 235, 245. You would have those scales. You would have them. And that's what they would go by. So, I mean, I have no I like Tate Crowder. I like Tate Crowder. I think he's slow in coverage. I think at times he's quick to react, slow to react. And I've said this before, especially playing in the middle linebacker position. And I've said this before, and I wish I knew the whole analogy, because it was a great analogy. And I heard this in college, that you have to flow like water. And someone said, Bruce Lee said this too, but you have to flow like water. And I didn't understand what the guy meant at first. And he basically said, when you are playing the middle linebacker position, you are in that second level of attack. You have to go through the traffic. So what happens is, it's almost like you have these pegs and you take a cup of water and you pour the water. The water will go through the pegs at a certain way to reach the end. To go off the table, to reach the end. You need to flow like that water and find the cracks and make the tackles. This is the same guy that told me, don't get lost in the sauce, which I still use to this. I love that analogy. I love that phrase. Don't get lost in the sauce. But lost in the sauce basically means, and people that will follow the channel forever will tell you, basically means that you just get lost in the pile, that you're not going through the crowd to make the tackle. You are getting stuck behind the defensive tackle. You're getting stuck behind the tight end on the other side. You're getting stuck. You're lost in that field. So you cannot knife through to find the ball carrier or the quarterback. I have to call him up. I have his number still. He's probably like 80 or 90 years old now, but I got to ask him what that analogy was. He also gave me the one, don't pee down my leg and tell me it's raining. I always love that one. Don't piss down, because I always say he's a Southern guy. Don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining. Because he used to always do that when you would make a mistake. If you would miss a tackle, you blow an assignment, and you try to come up with an excuse. That's what he would tell me. Don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining, son. I'm like, okay. Greeny Green, what's up, my brother? The process worked. The league forced out Hinkle before, brought in Cologne. I don't know. Oh, that's a soccer reference. What does Mr. Lewis have to say? I'm excited about the rebuild and getting our quarterback next year. Yeah, it's great, but we still have to get through 2023. That's what I keep. 2022. What do we got here? Immortal says, I'm an Alabama fan. The Giants fans, I hope we get Bryce Young. Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know about these quarterbacks yet, because we played one game. Some have played two. But like I said, I was impressed with the fact that Bryce Young took what the defense gave him. And I know it's a terrible analogy. It's an old analogy. But when they played, if you watched it, they were 2 safeties deep at times, most of the time. But then when they creeped up, that's when he threw the touchdown. He knew, he watched, he saw. And that's what I liked about Bryce Young, is the fact that he saw the field. He took opportunities that the defense gave him. He did not create his own mistakes. So I gotta like that one. I gotta like that one a little bit. Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. CJ Stroud. What's up, T-Brad? Okay, my quarterback ranking is, what's T-Brad quarterback? Okay, my quarterback ranking is Stroud, Young, Levinson, Van Dyke, and Richardson. I'm going to probably start doing a quarterback ranking after we get towards game 3 and 4, and I'll do a weekly ranking. But like I said, I got to see more than one game. And it's fun because, like I said, I haven't watched a lot of college football in years. I haven't. What's up, Brayden? What's going on, my friend? How you doing? Boy, we started early. I'm doing early shows. I have to do early shows for the next week. So I'm probably going to do this every morning from maybe 9 to 10 for the next week. I don't want to talk about it, but I got to do it. Tyrone says, what Tyrone said? No, Tim, you were confused, Trout. With young, you meant, yeah. You know what I meant. You know what I meant, Tyrone. It's a long day, man. I got up at 6 o'clock this freaking morning. I'm like my 5th cup of coffee. Damn, kids got to go to school early. I liked it before when they went to school late. Now they go to school early. I liked before when you get up at 7:30. Now I got to get up at 6. What does Immortal say? Gentlemen fooled me, shake my head. Hopefully we get the right guys in. Hopefully we do. But like I said, we have to give it time. We have to give it an opportunity. But also you have to hope that they are putting a product on the field. Captain Caveman says, what do you think of Leo restructure? I think you needed to gain cap space. There had to be a restructure coming. There had to be. It was, you were $7 million over the cap. You were at $1.3 million over. You released Blake Martinez. You were $5 million over. You signed a couple guys. You were now $7 million over. You had to find the cap space somewhere. So we knew the restructure was coming. We have to get the full details because I don't know how much money is pushed into 2023. I know it's majority of it is converted into a signing bonus or a bonus. We got to wait and see. And it also has a voidable year. So we may be able to fully move on from Leonard Williams in 2023. It's a possibility. But I still think it'll be like anywhere between $8 to $10 million in dead cap number. We have to wait and see. We don't have the final numbers yet. That's the problem. Alexander says, Shane's goal was clearly have 2 second-year quarterback and a bunch of cap space to build around him, say a quarterback like 2024. I don't want to use the T word, but it looks like that's where we're going. T word. That's going to be a new sound effect. The T word. The T. Oh, I already got a sound effect. Oh, I already got a sound effect for that one. You got $200 million. Well, you really see the thing with 2024 is, you see the number 200 million. You see the 55 million in 2023. Question is, you're going to sign free agents. You're going to sign people and you're going to move some of that number into 2023. You're not going to go on the spending spree that you would like prior. You're not going to go on that you're not going to go on that spending spree. You're not going to do that. But you're still going to sign people. You're still going to bring people in. So, so that number is going to go down. But yes, you hope that there's a foundational effort between Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. You hope those are your 2 blocks. I'm still suspect of his rest of his draft, and I've said this before. And if you go back and watch my last 3 drafts, I've been pretty much right almost on every draft, except for one offensive lineman that people love to bring up. But I've been pretty much right on my drafts. Pretty much head on. And I always tell people, especially the people that bash me when I do my draft grade videos, I said, give it a year. And I always love it because then they regrade them at the end of the year. And everyone almost matches my grade that I gave before the draft or directly after the draft. Let's see. What does Jay have to say? Jay says, I've got $100 bet Tony will be hurt in the first quarter. I'm not taking that bet. I'm taking that bet, Jay. What does Cortez have to say? Tim, would you blitz Sunday or make a mix of zone coverage? Here's the problem.
What's your assignment?
Kill the quarterback. Hit the tight end so hard his girlfriend dies. Kill everybody.
I meant this button.
No, I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night.
Listen, Wink made his chops bringing the pain. You made your chops by having exotic blitz packages and having multiple guys on your team have sacks. You made your name by, even when you had Juden who had that 1 year that every guy would have like 7 sacks, 5 sacks, 4 sacks, where multiple guys would get sacks. That's what you made your money on. You can't go away from what you are. You can't. You cannot go away from what you are. So I would blitz. I would take a shot. Like I said, you got Robert Woods, you got a bunch of rookies, and you got Hooper. Bring the pain. Michael says, no way we lose to the Texans, Jags, and Seattle. Like there was a bunch of teams last year I heard we weren't going to lose to either. You can't go through this. I'm going to tell you right this. I think the Texans are going to be better than people think. I think the Jags are going to be a lot better than people think. And I think Seattle's going to be a lot worse than people think. So let's not mark those down just yet. We got a big super chat, of course, from Mr. Lewis Hall. Super chats. Go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Get me my FQ when they build up the roster without thrilled and the average team. Sorry, you paid a lot for money the season tickets, but this year means nothing. Here's the Mr. Lewis. This is what I'm saying. I knew we were going to be a bad team. I knew it. I bought the season tickets. I came online and said I knew we are going to be a bad team. We are going to be a 5-win team. I said it a million times. Maybe you missed a lot of the shows. I said it a million times. But here's the thing. Here's what I said. I want to see a competitive team. I want to see a team that's cultivating NFL talents. I want to see a team that can win some games. And if you look at this roster and you look at it objectively, you look at the other 32 teams, maybe this team ranks 30th. I thought before they ranked like 27th. So you're taking the fan base and you're basically just saying, yes, 2022 is a wash. And I said that and I understood that 100%. But you also can't tell me that they're not 19 to 20 guys on this roster currently. Some of them who may be starting would even be on 31 other teams' rosters. No, because the big phrase of it is, and people have pointed this out a million times, the Giants waived a bunch of guys. No one picked anybody up. Our trash was still trash for everyone else. Thank you for Super Chat. Also, Philadelphia Children's Hospital. Why couldn't we have restructured Bradbury's contract? I don't know. You could have restructured Bradbury's contract and had the exact same amount of savings, but you would have pushed cap space into 2023. Not an exorbitant amount, but you would have pushed cap space into 2023. What's up, Glenn? School is open, so I'm back in class. Workflow. Can't comment, but listening. Well, Glenn, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, my friend. Hope everything's going well in school. Big Dash. If you don't know Big Dash is, of course, a other giant YouTuber. Big Dash knows. Go to his channel, subscribe. I agree. I let a few weeks go by before ranking these college guys. You should be a good year from now for a few guys. Yeah, let's just give him some time. Let's just give it. Let's give it some time. Like I say, if you don't know Big Dash, go find Big Dash. Go subscribe to his channel. Good channel. Good guy. I used to have his. I was gonna put up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I was gonna put up the thing for your channel, Dash, but I can't remember what I did with it. We got James Williams in the house, so you know what? All is well now. James is making his coming into the field. Everyone knows James is my brother from another mother. Without James, I think I would lose my mind sometimes. But James is in his house. And here we go. I'm gonna put in the comment section. There's Big Dash knows thing, and we're also gonna put it in the banner on the bottom for you. I did this for you before and I forgot. So go over, subscribe to Big Dash. Big Dash knows. Good channel, good guy. Let me go here. I'll put that on the ticker from the bottom for you, Dash, for a little bit. So people can go and subscribe to the channel. Talks Giant stuff, talks straight Giant stuff. That's why I don't get a chance to really watch a ton of videos of them, but I do watch Big Dash every once in a while. I had another guy, I saw a podcast I really liked and I posted it on the thing, but I forgot what it was. Maybe I liked it because they invited me on. I said no, though. So I always say no. I don't know why I always say no to things. Damian Jackson says, early, Tim. It's 6:50 a.m. for me. It's early here. It's 9:58. What does Skyline have to say? Skyline says, any word on the changing out the turf? They're not going to change out the turf. I love it because everyone blames the turf, but what about the Jets? They play on the same field. Are the Jets immune to the turf? They're not changing out the turf. They're not. Good video. I did actually talks about the turf and talks about the NML and actually talks about the injuries. And the team that has the most injuries right now on the injury reserve is the Raiders, not the Giants. Let's see here. What is Giants 34? So Giants 34. I'm not feeling Joe and Dable because if you're making all these moves late, you could have been cut Martinez. You could have cut a great point. You could have cut Martinez in March and actually saved money. You could have did it. I'm not saying that you should have did it, but you could have did. You could have cut them in March and saved money. Let's see. Jaguars and Seattle are better. I don't think Seattle is. I think the Jaguars have some young talent, and when you got a good quarterback, there we go. Let's see. Bringing the boom. Anthony Richardson bringing the boom. Thank you for the super chat, Panda. Is Anthony bringing the? I don't know yet. Let me get some time looking at these guys. Let me get some time. Let me get some love looking at these guys because there's only one.
Malik Willis. Bring him the boom.
Oh, Malikster. I love it because you had guys, you had people, I think it was the NFL Network, voted the most exciting and the most promising rookie of this preseason. And it was Malik Willis. I am so mad that we didn't get Malik. Not even going to talk about that. What does Braden say? Braden says there are some. What are some of the changes you would have made the Giants did before not make this offseason? I probably would have restructured some contracts. I would have restructured Leonard Williams early, and I probably would have moved some of I would have still given majority of his money into bonus money, but I would have moved some money out of 2023, moved into 2024, but then made that money non-guaranteed. I would have gotten, if you're going to get rid of Blake Martinez, I would have moved on from Blake, and I would have probably drafted. I probably would have drafted a linebacker earlier, because you would have saved more money in reference. I would have restructured James Bradbury and saved some capital and saved some cash. And probably I would not have picked up the 5th-year option on Dexter Lawrence, because he doesn't 100% fit the Wink system. He's not a Calais Campbell. He's not that guy in the middle. He's not that run plugger. He's not that Dalvin Tomlinson who does the dirty work. He's a quasi Leonard Williams / nose tackle / defensive end. I mean, and that's what it is. What is Dash at right now? Big Dash, what are you at? You're at 584. All right, let's everyone jump over to open up another browser. If you haven't done it already, jump over, subscribe to Dash, come back, get them up to 600. That's my goal. Goals are important. Learn that in rehab. That's from a movie. Get the likes up. Thank you. Get the likes up. That's all right, because a lot of people can't like right now, because a lot of people are working. A lot of people are working. Hindsight is 2020, but a lot of it's not hindsight. Barry, I'm going to give you an assignment to talk about hindsight. Go watch some of my videos and tell me if I'm omnipotent or it's hindsight. I don't think Martinez liked his new role and wanted to sleep. I don't think Wink liked Martinez, to be honest. I don't think he did. I think Blake would have been a perfect fit for it. Now, was he a perfect fit for Wink's 3-4? I don't know, but I think he's a perfect 3-4 linebacker. Because while he does have some coverage skills, we have noticed before that we've talked about this before. He's jumped up in the league in different categories. If you look at coverages by middle linebackers, sometimes he was the 15th ranked, 16th ranked, 28th ranked, 16th ranked. So he does have some coverage skills, but he's more adept into finding the ball carrier to making the tackles. And I love the people that say, well, he had 154 tackles, but he didn't have a lot behind the line of scrimmage. And I actually stopped the stream last time someone said that, and I was like, just how dumb does that sound? So you had 154 tackles, but none of them were quality tackles. Majority of them were solo, which means you are the first to the ball carrier. I just think he didn't fit into the mold that Wink had in mind but the only problem is I also just don't see Tay Crowder doing the same thing. I don't see Tay Crowder fitting that mold that he thinks that he's going to go in, because he's an undersized guy. And there's nothing wrong with being an undersized linebacker, but when you're an undersized linebacker and you are the starting middle linebacker for an NFL team, there are some concerns. There are some issues. There are some problems. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Sometimes it makes my head hurt. And like I said, you may not like your role, but I think at the end of the day, you know your role. And I think that's the most important part of any NFL player's career. And I think that's the most important part of any situation that you're in. And I think that Wink just did not see him in the role that he had in mind for him. Got to think of it that way. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff coming up this week. Really are. People have asked me, Tim, are you going to do the play-by-play of the game? Probably not. I like watching the games. Not that I don't like watching the games with you guys. I like watching the games. I like sitting there, and I like sitting there. I have a I don't know, let's go like a bar stool. Like like the tabletops like at Hooters or any bar, I guess. I have one of those tabletops, and I got the bar stools around it and everything else. So, I like just sitting. I have 3 big TVs on the walls. So I turn on all the games, and I just sit there and I just watch football. hang out with friends and stuff. So I'm probably not going to do the play-by-play, but like I said, I am going to. We got a super chat, of course, for Damon Jacks for the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. What do we have to say here? This team is going to be special this year, Tim. Can't wait for the roller coaster of the season. I'm hoping. You hope and I'll hurry. You try and I'll plan. We'll do what's necessary because even a miracle needs a hand. It's going to be a miracle. It really is. And like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be bad when you know you're going to be bad. And like I said, I have the only one that's ever talked about coach speak and general manager speak. The day of Joe Judge's press conference, and I heard all the coach speak. The first thing I said was, I did a video afterwards and everyone got mad at me. I said, this guy either is going to have to he's going to have to put up or shut up right away because I don't like him. I don't like what he's saying. I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what he is all about. And I said that from day one. I did not like Joe Judge. So I understand coach speak. I get it. I've been around in college, in the pros. I've been around coach speak almost all my life, it seems like. And there's a way to do it. And I do think that Shane and Dable do coach/GM speak well because they tell you things you don't want to hear, but at the end of the day, you need to hear it. And then at the end of the day, but the problem is you can't have your coach speak and then turn around and do something totally different. And that's what I get a little bit upset about. Big Dash says, you nailed it, Wink scheme. Sometimes I've scratched my head, but I trust the process. Roche is another guy that should have been on the 53-man number. Zimenez, Wink likes what he likes. Zimenez and Shane thinks, Shane, Wink thinks Shane, Wink thinks Zimenez. Wink thinks Zimenez. Say that. Wink thinks Zimenez. Wink thinks. Said that 10 times fast. Wink thinks Zimenez is more athletic than Roche. He said it. That's why he's on the team. I don't see it. Listen, I have a 53 O'Shane Zimenez rookie jersey in my closet. Talked about it before. I wore it on a stream once or twice. Coming out of Old Dominion with 10.5 sacks, I thought he was going to be something special. We all knew we had one pass rushing move. Thought he would cultivate into, to different moves. No, he never did. But he likes his athleticism. I don't see it. I see him out of place in the run. I see him as a liability trying to contain the edge. And I don't see much of a pass rushing skill. So he says, if the Giants offensive line is at the top 10 this year, what do you think the record will be? If the offensive line is in the top 10, that's a good question and a weird question. If the offensive line is the top 10 and you still can't get the ball to the wide receivers, it doesn't matter if you're upright. I showed yesterday, they had a great stat. If you take they had a formula for pressures, sacks, hits, completions, and everything else, and time in the pocket. And they ranked the quarterback who had the least amount of, assistance. And you had people like Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, Ryan Tannehill. Daniel Jones was like in the middle of the list. So Daniel Jones, everyone wants to talk about how terrible his offensive line. Daniel Jones' offensive line wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. There were moments of horrid play, yes, but it wasn't as bad. So I still think you probably win maybe 3-4. You win like maybe 3 additional games. So if you're winning 3, you're winning 6. I think that would be my question. McFadden, Belton, Beavers were all Shane picks, and they're all playing well. And they got injured. Bellinger and Robinson were probable stars, but he had a cut area to sign them. Give them some credit, but I don't have to give him credit for anything because of the fact that he still signed those guys. If he would have, you could have saved the exact same amount of money by restructuring Bradbury's deal because you didn't really save that much. You could have saved more money with the Logan Ryan deal. He only saved $700,000 on the Logan Ryan deal. He could have saved $3 million using the post June 1st designation. And yes, you would have to eat $1.5 million the next year, but you could have saved like $6 million right there, if not more, and still signed your class. And Beavers was playing okay. Belton never saw the field, so you don't know how he was playing well. And McFadden, to me, I think is going to struggle. Bellinger showed that his hands are not what people think they are right now, to the fact that the Giants did hand drills just for his hands. And Robinson is a 5'8" guy. And I've said this before, and I don't wish ill on anyone, but I am concerned that he does not know how to protect himself on an NFL field because you're not playing at Kentucky. And at 5'8", undersized, and not having the blazing speed, that is a recipe for disaster. I'll give him credit when people play well. People are like, you're so negative, you don't give them credit. I will give credit to people when they do things right. I will give credit to people when things turn around and are well. But I'm not going to give credit to someone who hasn't done anything yet. James Williams says, thank you, Tim, for saying that. I honestly can't understand why fans today rather have false praise than realistic expectations. So annoying. It is annoying. It's annoying, but that's okay. Let's get up to 45 likes, and then we're going to jump out of here. Because my new video is coming up at 11:30. Talks about Leonard Williams. Talks about Marcus Johnson. Talks about all these things. If you haven't already gone over, go over to subscribe to Big Dash Nose channel. What is it? He's only went up one subscriber, one lousy subscriber. He was challenging him in training camp. He had not gotten on the field. There's a difference between training camp and games. I know it's a hard concept, but they're different. I have seen training camp warriors, people that look like they are all pros, and then you turn them onto the field, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. He wasn't challenging Love for anything yet because of the fact that he never got on the field. Hey, I'm not lousy. I don't know. Okay. Hey, I'm not lousy. Who's lousy? What are you lousy, Chris? What are you talking about? Seti says, would have saved money if they didn't sign Tyron and drafted Malik Willis. Yeah. Evidently, Malik Willis. I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth, Barry. I'm not. I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth. How am I talking? Barry, how the hell am I talking out both sides of my mouth? You know, Barry, you're too stupid to be in the room. Barry, you got put in time. You're too stupid to be here. You're too dumb. I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth at all. He didn't get on the fucking field. He never played a preseason snap. You are comparing someone in training camp to a 4-year veteran who, yes, did get benched last year, but is still a 4-year veteran who has played in the league and who has started against a rookie. Oh, and Barry, I bet you loved Yusef Corker. I bet you creamed over him when they picked him up out of Kentucky. I can tell you probably did because you're not that bright. Yeah, how did he work out? Stupid people. Yeah, the Tyrod, you know what? That's the thing about Tyrod Taylor. Tennessee Titans got little Logan Woodside and kept a rookie quarterback backing up Tannehill on a playoff team. And they got him in the 3rd round. So yeah, you pretty much could have saved capital doing that, but nobody knew what Malik was going to be. Nobody knew. Oh wait, somebody did. I'm not sure who it was.
What you talking about, Willis?
I'm not sure who it was. And then I love people now because they're like, well, according to Stupid Barry, Malik Willis is going to be an all-pro because he looked good in training camp and preseason. Oh, but wait, he played games. Oh, my God, he started 3 games. Tell me I'm talking about my ass. Too many stupid people sometimes. James, there's too many stupid people. There are no stupid people, only stupid questions. Not only stupid questions, only stupid people. I think we're going to close this out now because you know what? I don't want to deal with stupid people. Always one person F's it up for everyone, doesn't it? Isn't that always the way? Isn't that always the way?
But that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
And people wonder why I'm not more popular. You know what? I gotta admit this. I love being me. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I'm not mad, my brother. I'm not mad. It's all good. It's all good. It's just, you just gotta, it's just, It's just stupid people bother me. James Williams, what do you got here? James, people look at the team that the Bears put around Justin Fields and tell me who's going to carry him more of the team, or him or Daniel Jones. Justin Fields scares me a little bit. Justin Fields was like 14 for 16 for 3 touchdowns his last preseason game. And I think the Bears have an idea. You run, play action. And then you have Justin's got the wheels, to make things happen. And, he's got the whole Ohio State thing, hanging over him. But I think he's going to be one of the exceptions to the Ohio State rule. And, Bryce Young might be too. Who knows? Or CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson. They could all break molds. I don't know yet. Because you want to know what? It's too early. No, the other guy. No, I know, my friend. I'm just one of those things. Just one of those days. There are no stupid questions, only stupid people.
But that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
We are going to end it here. We've got a good amount of people in the room, but we're going to end it here because I gotta work. I got stuff going on. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. talking Giants. We're going to do this show all the way up till Friday. So be here every day, 9 a.m. Maybe we'll give something away tomorrow. What do we have to give away? What do I have to give away? Do I have anything to give away? I'm looking for a giveaway. I'll look for a giveaway for tomorrow. Oh, you know what I can give away? I have it still. Tomorrow, tune in, because I got 2 of these. We are going to be giving away a 1981 print of Phil Simms. 1981 print of Phil Simms from Shell Gas Station. These are actually collectible, guys. I got a bunch of them. Someone sent me a bunch of them. I also have them. You can't see them, but I got them hanging up on my office wall behind me. We're going to give that away tomorrow. We're gonna talk about a lot of fun things. We're going to do a lot of things. I'm glad everyone was able to hang out for as long as they did. Sorry, Barry screwed it up for everyone. We got Edward in the room, Chris in the room, Seti, Big James Williams, of course, Big Dash knows. If you don't know Big Dash, go subscribe to his channel. You got Rock Barnes in here. I love that name, Rock Barnes. Rock is going to roll with all his might in Bedrock. You got Giants 34. You got all Big Glenn. Rolly Lewis was in the room as well. Same with Zack Attack and Skyline, the immortal TK. We got Greg all the way from Sweden. Billy Mays returned and reborn. He had a question about the kid from Kentucky. Just waking up on the West Coast, says Tim Korea, some Caps Wave. Great news. So we're out of here for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the show today. Come back and see us tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel. Will you have a stream? Yes, the stream will be back at 10:30 on Sunday. I got lit the night before on Saturday. I wasn't getting up to do a 10:30 stream. But yes, the stream will be back on Saturday. So hope everyone would jump. We'll give Mr. Alvarez the last question of the last comment of the day. I think I've said it in a different stream. Some Giant fans act like Cowboy fans straight up delusional. Only difference is Giants won more Super Bowls recently than them. And that's the best way to sum it up. But you know what? We are gonna check it out of here the right way. Everyone, this is Total Online Big Blue, bringing you the best. And New York Giants Sports Talk Entertainment. We're out of here for today. We're going to see everyone tomorrow. Hope you have a great night. Hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're out of here.